overview of the map tool. You see a screenshot of that below this title slide, and I'll be walking through the major user interface elements and their roles and any of the modal dialogues that might pop up or whatnot, so that it is clear exactly how to operate the software. This is all a web application, so it's running in your web browser, but once you navigate to that URL, this is the interface that you would see. So starting kind of at the top and working our way around, up at the top left, we have the address search box, where you can type in the street address of any particular location you would like the map to zoom over to. So if you have a particular intersection in mind you're looking at creating a map message for, you can just enter that there, and it will find it for you. To the right of that, we have the options menus, your standard file tools kind of dialogues. That's where you'll find your save functionality, additional help menus if you want them, as well as the encoder and various other bits of functionality that I can get into a little bit later in this presentation. Slightly below that, we have the map layer toggles, which will control the visibility of different layers, such as road names, the hybrid imagery I was talking about earlier to show you map road lines instead of just the satellite imagery, and various other data elements that might be useful, but maybe not all the time. Below that, we have the zoom controls. You can use those to increase the level of detail to a certain point in the imagery you'll be seeing. You can also use the mouse scroll wheel to zoom in and out as well. They perform the same functionality. In the bottom left corner, we have the help button, which will pop up a helpful dialog that describes kind of a walkthrough, similar to what I'll be providing today in terms of general aim and content, that describes the flow of how one might use the application. And lastly, on this screen, just above that, we have the map tile info section, which will describe to you the date at which the satellite imagery for the tile was captured, as well as the current numerical zoom level. The zoom level, I believe, goes 1 through 20, anything in increasing order of how close it is. Anything below 17 is entirely new imagery at each level. 17 and above is simply extrapolated, so it's a little bit larger in case you really need to get in close, but it doesn't actually contain any more detail. And these map images are all sourced from Bing Maps, so if you have any sort of concerns about the latitude, longitude accuracy of that, that would be kind of your reference datum there. In the next screen, we're showing some of the dialogues that might pop up, as well as the toolbar. The builder on the left contains the elements you can drag and drop onto the map or onto other dialogues for the purpose of adding these elements. We don't need to worry too much about what the reference point marker and the verified point marker and so on are right now. We'll get into that a little bit later when we're actually building a map message. But for now, that is where those elements will come from. The additional dialog is where you'll be entering some of the data elements the map message is going to require you to provide. You'll see it's asking here for latitude, longitude, and whatnot. And it provides in the form of those question mark buttons helpful little pop-up dialogues describing the units, their ranges, etc., for all the different values that you might need to enter. And then at the bottom left here, we have the toolbar, which is going to contain different elements depending on what kind of mode you're in, what you're doing with the application. But fundamentally, it's where you're going to be accessing your various tools, be it to draw lanes or be it to, delete elements or edit elements, so on and so forth. And that blue icon all the way at the left of the toolbar is what you're going to use to pop up this builder that we see here. So if I go on to the next slide, we have the lane design tools, which will show up when we're in the process of editing and creating lanes and approaches. There's the boxes for approach editing, one for creation, one for editing, lanes, one for creation, one for editing, and then a handy measurement tool in case you have any questions about the length of certain elements or the distance between different elements in your map message. You can use that to verify and check to make sure that everything's as you expected it to be.